How much money did you have when you came to the US?
$3. I have a $3 on my hand. My mind is to work for myself. I never gonna work for anybody in my life. I rent the place and then I put some inventory and then I start from there. 6 o'clock to 6:30 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night.
6 a.m. in the morning to 11 p.m. at night. Constant work.
Constant working.
Hey everyone, Sam Patel back here on the YouTube channel. I am so excited for today's topic and today's discussion. But before we dive in and before I introduce my guest, make sure if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe. Make sure you hit that right now so you can follow our journey along with all the amazing discussions that we have. Today's discussion is going to be amazing because I have a special guest. It's actually the first entrepreneur I have ever met. He also happens to be my dad. Dad, say hello to the world.
Hello.
We are here to discuss amazing things, amazing topics, the history of entrepreneurship, how individuals such as my dad have come to this country, grinded, fought through all the hardships of everything this country brings, but also the opportunity it brings. And we're going to be diving into a lot of conversation. So Dad, thanks for being here and flying up from Florida. First question is, you came here in the US in the 80s. It is a storyline of so many different people that have immigrated here from all different countries, not just India.
Yes.
But in the 80s, you came over. What was the reasoning from that decision-making of, hey, we're going to leave India, everything you've grown to know, all the family you've left there, and then you had this vision of coming to the US. Walk us through that vision and what inspired you.
Correct. Yes, Sam. When I came here in 80s, I was 25-year-old. And my thinking is for the future, which is my future also, and my kids' future. So we decided, I and my wife, that we go to the country that have a lot of opportunity. So we came here. We have opportunity to come here. So we came here legally. And in the beginning, it's very hard for me because I never work in India. So that's the first experience to how to work. And we go through a lot of ups and downs. And then my whole goal is to give a better life to my kids. That time I have one son and then future kid, which is another kid. His name is Sam. So
I know him pretty well.
So that's why we came here and we work very, very hard. I worked for the company in the beginning as a labor, but it's not my mind set up. My mind is to work for myself. I never gonna work for anybody in my life. That is my thinking that time. And
that brings up actually a really good point. You came here with this vision of a better life for your family, a better life for yourself, better life for your future and your kids.
Correct.
And it seems to be that is the story for many immigrants that are coming in.
Yes.
And certainly there's challenges that come. What was your first job?
My first job is a company, they make a frame, the photo frame. And the garment store, like a Indian garment, all the clothes and things like that, which I try to hide, not doing that kind of work because and the first thing they give me the broom, so to sweep the floors, and I say I'm not going to do it. So they fire me in a second. So my second job is in New York, which is a candy store, the newspaper stand store. I worked there for 3 or 4 months, I think, because I'm independent. Nobody's my boss. So after that, I think maybe I had to work. I don't have any knowledge. So somebody told me you have to work in a company so you get some benefit. Then I start working in a company, but I can't make it. So then I flew back to Florida and start my own business.
How much were you getting paid in your first job?
$2.60.
$2.60 an hour?
Hour.
Wow. So obviously it was very challenging to take tasks and such as sweeping the floor. It's always difficult to have someone tell you what to do, specifically if you have an entrepreneur mindset, if you have a mindset of being your own business owner. So then when you decided, hey, I don't want to work for anyone anymore. I want to work for myself. I want to build my own business. You came down to Florida, you established your first business. How did you come across that first business? And tell us what that first business was.
Okay, the first business is like a convenience store.
Convenience store.
Convenience store. And we just look at the location, empty location, because I can't afford to buy the established business. So I see the location and I put in my mind what I can do over here. Then I went to the bank. I don't have any money. I just have a few dollars. So I talked to the manager and she said, Mr. Patel, you can't get it because I asked for the $10,000. And she said, no, you can't get it because you don't have anything. I said, listen, I have a project. So I saw her a project, which is just a convenience store. And somehow she impressed. And then he said, you can go back to your house. And then we talk about that later on. And then she called me next day. And she said, you have a $10,000 in your account. So that's why it's happened.
Yeah, so you went to the bank, took a risk, said, I need some money to build this convenience store. They said no. But then you presented a business plan.
Correct.
And the business plan convinced the bank, hey, this might work. And then they gave you a $10,000 loan.
She just somehow, the way I talk, she just trusts me. And she said, okay, Mr. Patel, I take a risk and I give you $10,000. Those days are different in a bank. Like we talk about 35 years, 40 years. So that's why I start from $10,000. That some inventory I put in my, I rent the place and then I put some inventory and then I start from there. 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. I and my wife.
6 a.m. in the morning to 11 p.m. at night. Constant working.
Constant working.
So, it's interesting because today's world, getting a loan is very difficult. As you mentioned, back then it was much easier.
Much easier.
Getting a business loan. Everyone thinks that people coming from other countries have money. How much money did you have when you came to the U.S.?
$3. I have a $3 on my hand, which I borrow from the friends. My parents didn't help me because they can't afford to do anything right those days. Very simple family, very old thinking family. So that's why even when I came, I buy my own clothes from my friend's store. So those are the things. So I have only $3 on my hand, yes.
So after getting to the bank, you were able to present them a business plan.
Correct.
Which shows how important it is to make net connections. If you make a connection, you build a relationship with somebody.
Correct.
If they trust you, then they'll do business with you. It's not always just, sometimes a little bit of luck helps. It's always good to meet people and talk to people. Networking is big with being a business owner. You don't have to have experience. Talk us through your experience before. Do you have to have education? Do you have to have all this to own a business?
Not really. Education is always help you, but I don't have education. I'm a school graduate and I did a college one year and even I quit that time. It's circumstances and the atmosphere at my family background. But the thing is, if you have your mindset that I want to do it and if you do work hard, then it's not impossible. It's everything possible over here, in this particular in US. So that's what we did.
So education is only going to help, but determination is more important.
Yes, correct.
As an entrepreneur, if you have determination, if you have the plan, if you have willpower, then that's all you really need.
Yeah, my goal that time is only that I focus on a business and I want to do business and I want to make some money and then I have a plan for another kid. So when I'm really established, those are the things. I want to give a good education to my kids and give them a good life, better than us.
So the inspiration and the motivation was to work hard so that the family, the kids can have things that you didn't get to have, which is a better life, education. And so that was the main motivation for you.
Yes.
Now, as you started to get the business established and you got the bank loan, you were able to get your first store. What made you want to keep going, building more stores? What was your motivation and why did you keep building more stores?
The reason is because first thing is always money, because we don't have anything that time. So we want to build business and open up the another business so we make some more money and start our better life. So like house, we bought the house in a 6 month without any money. So, but those are the lucks also comes with me. But yeah, those are the motivation that if I work hard and if I have money, I give a good life to my kids.
What were the challenges other than financially coming to the country in the US, coming from India as an immigrant? What were other challenges that you face in terms of language barriers, cultural barriers, understanding how this world was different than the world you came from? What were some of those other challenges?
Well, the thing is, I always speak English in India also, but not fluently. So when I came here, I learned the language, especially my wife learned the language better. The people are a lot better here. It's just they have to know you. They have to know you first, that who you are and what kind of person you are. So it doesn't matter which color, which religion you are. If they like you and they like you, then they respect you. And you have to give them respect also and talk nice to them. And that we can build it, all the relationship that way.
So when you came in, you mentioned, your big focus also was to build relationships, gain trust, gain respect, earn respect. Did you overcome, or what obstacles did you overcome with coming to the country? Maybe people looking at you differently, saying, okay, this person's, not from the US. How did you overcome those challenges?
Yes, in a beginning, yes. Beginning, they don't know us. So of course, anywhere you go in the world, once they don't know you, they're going to be act a little differently. Once they start to know you and get your nature, then they love you. That's happening to us. In the beginning, yes. And I'm a little tough guy. My wife is very smooth, but I'm very, very tough those days. And that saves me also and saves my life also, because I was tough in a business. Because when it's convenience store, you're gonna find all different kind of people. So very nice people. Some bad is everywhere. So you find those people, and those are the people you have to watch very carefully. So that's why I'm very strict on those days. And we survive. Yeah.
So being tough as a business owner allowed you to continue being successful. You can't be soft. You have to be tough, so that way you can continue to fight and win, and also learn or I should say earn the trust from other people. Otherwise, they're going to take advantage of you.
That's correct. Well, we that can be happen because we gain a lot of trust from our customers, and those tough guys, they also know that they don't want to mess around this business because of me. And everybody's nice to my wife more than me because she's very soft. But in the back of their mind, they know that Raj here, so they don't want to mess with anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
So in terms of building trust with your customers, I know the first business you built, the convenience store, the reason that succeeded so well was, of course, because your hard work, but you have a lot of loyal customers coming back. How did you build trust, and why is it so important to build trust with your customers?
Well, those days, like I said, I was, when I started my first business, I was 29-year-old, and very innocently from my heart that even though if I like someone, I invite them at my home and feed them we share the culture. Like they are different food, we are different food, so we share the culture, we start to know each other as a religion. And they all love us, and they used to come and have a lunch with us and dinner with us, and those are the only way I can build the relationship with them.
So early on, you started to build relationships with your customers and trust with them by just sharing experiences, by treating them like family almost.
Correct.
So that way they can continue to help build your business.
Yes.
So trying to be a part of their community so they can understand your community too.
Yes, and not only young people. I have a lot of old families. They love us because of we treat them very nicely, very good, and very friendly and familiar. So and young also, and some young people, Spanish people, white people, I give them job also. Mostly in my business, when I opened another business, almost my white people and Spanish people. Spanish people, they work at my home whenever I need them. So that's why
the Hispanic community is very hardworking.
Correct.
And certainly where the South Florida, population. There's a high population of them. So you're able to work with them to help build your business too.
Correct.
So in terms of after building your first few convenience stores, what was the biggest challenges you faced? What was hard? Because everything, obviously you have a lot of success, but it didn't come without failing. What were some of those obstacles and failures you had?
Well, the failure is whoever I hire, most of them are nice. Some of them, they steal the money, they did the wrong thing in a business, they try to make me down. But my mind is all set. Nobody can move me because I have a goal in my mind that I want to do this, and nobody can stop me. So that's the reason. A lot of people, they try to make me down, but they didn't succeed.
So staff and hiring people was difficult because trusting them, they would steal from you. It was difficult to find hardworking people. I think that still exists today.
Correct.
I always talk about this. The hardest part about being a business owner is finding team members, finding staff, finding trust, having people work for you that will help you grow. But you didn't let that challenge, be a big issue for you. You had a determination, and you didn't let that.
Yes.
You didn't let that, knock you down. You wanted to make sure that you keep fighting ahead.
That's correct. And those days are different. I mean, when you hire the people, mostly the Indian people or Bangladeshi, so I keep them in my house, which is maybe 3 or 4 families. I make them set up properly in a time period. But yeah, they used to live with me. So my fear is they don't go anywhere else. And that's the one reason I keep them in my house. We feed them and we keep them and we give them salary.
So you gave opportunities to other people coming to the country.
Correct.
That were just like you before.
Yes.
They needed a place to stay and they needed a place to get started. So you adopted them into the family.
Correct.
Basically said, hey, listen, I'm going to give you a job. I'm going to give you opportunity.
Correct.
So basically what you didn't have, you're trying to give to other
Correct.
people coming to the
And
country.
those are the trade those days. I'm talking about 40 years, 35 years, 40 years ago. That's why the Indian people used to do that. So they have a permanent, not permanent, but at least for certain periods, they stay with you and they work with you because you give them a food, you give them a living, so they don't have to worry about it. And plus, you give them a salary.
Right.
So,
makes sense.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something very important because obviously today's topics of immigration are very sensitive. You, of course, came in legally, wanted to make sure that was out there for our viewers. But nonetheless,
yes.
How long did it take you to get citizenship in the U.S.?
5 years. After 5 years, the law system says after 5 years you can get the citizen if you have a green card, which I do. As soon as I arrive in the airport, they give me the green card. Those days are different.
Right.
They give you
now it's obviously more tough because of all of the regulations, changes that have happened in the world. But of course, you were able to earn your citizenship, and you've been a citizen for several decades now. Now, as you look at kind of the life, right, and you look at business owners, obviously, your son is a business owner, but for those people out there that are going into business, you've always mentioned owning your own business gives you control of your life. Working for other people is not a bad thing. But if you want control of your own life, own your own business. Owning your own business today is very difficult. It's so difficult because it's hard to get in. It's hard to get money. It's hard to get bank loans. For someone who is looking to, own their own business, what are some simple advice you would give them?
Well, the simple advice is this. When you come in this country, first thing you have to work very, very hard. I mean, there is nothing free. Anywhere in the world, but over here has a lot of opportunity. If you work hard and if you be honest, I and my wife, we be honest whole over 40 years in this country. Our record is very clear. And I teach my kids when they're growing up, same thing. I say, first thing, you respect this country, respect the flag, and don't do anything illegal or anything wrong thing. Then you will be okay. But you have to work really hard. Once you work hard, the ways is already going to open itself. You don't have to find it. It's going to open when you work hard, and you need to have your vision also. Now, if you don't have a vision, then you're going to work for somebody for a whole life. My vision from beginning, when I came from India, my first thing is I'm going to open up the business. Nothing else. I can't work for anybody. This is my nature. Nobody can bossing me. This is my nature. So that's why I did that.
So you had a vision
Yes.
and work hard.
Work hard.
You know,
Yes.
it sounds simple, but you're absolutely right. Those are the biggest two things. Without
yeah.
those, nothing matters. If you have a vision, if you have a mission, I'm going to accomplish this, and then you're motivated to get there, you'll figure it out.
Correct.
So I think that's the backbone, that's the DNA of any entrepreneur, is to have a vision and to then, of course, work hard to get there. As you continue, looking at this new generation, you're retired now. You've worked really hard.
Yeah.
You've developed a lot of businesses. You see now a lot of foreigners, right? A lot of Indians, first generation like myself, they're going into different occupations. People are going to be lawyers. They're going to be physicians. They're going to be engineers, all of these different things. But also those same people are also, they're tired, right? Because they're working for somebody. They're also now wanting to become entrepreneurs. So almost we're going back in a circle where everyone is, really well educated and they have so much opportunity in the hospital or in their law firm or in a company, but now they're also wanting to go own their own business just like their parents did. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that people that are really educated are still wanting to go work for themselves? Do you feel that there's that's just maybe how their parents taught them is to be entrepreneurs?
Well, that's the first thing. Yes, I teach my both kids to work for themselves. No matter what happens, you just try to work yourself. In the beginning, yes, you have to, like you said, if you have education, you go for your job, what kind of education you have. That's the beginning. But then back up your mind, you should think that, no matter what, I want to do business. It's very hard in the business that we did. Nowadays is nothing. Means convenience store, small mom and pop is dying because of the big, huge corporate. So I think you work for sometimes for the knowledge you have and education you have, but your thinking is to get into the same field business. Means you are a doctor.
Get some experience by working for someone else.
Yes.
Learn everything you can learn.
Yeah.
Take that knowledge and then try to develop something yourself.
Correct.
Within that same field.
Correct. Within the same field, you are right.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I think that certainly is important because if you can because working is difficult today. You have to work hard. It's hard.
Yes.
Everything's fast paced.
Yes.
Now men and women are equally working. So it's difficult to raise families. But if you're able to learn from somebody else in a company, in a hospital, in a law firm, whatever your background is, learn for a few years, and then take that knowledge and grow your own business, it's a pretty good idea. It definitely makes sense.
Yeah. Mostly foreigners, which is from India and some other countries, small countries, especially I'm from India, so I talk about the India, Patel especially, Shah, they are not going to work for anybody for a lifetime. They just have a goal from beginning that because they are originally business people in the India even, so they can't work for anybody. This is the nature they have. They can't take the bossing from anybody. So in the beginning, yes, but then after that,
it's funny because I posted a video not too long ago about Patels, right? Our name is very popular. It's like Smith, right? Very popular name. But you mentioned that in our history, in our DNA, is to be hardworking and to be entrepreneurs. We came here, we built hotels, built motels, built convenience stores, Dunkin' Donuts, Subway. Everyone from India that's last name is Patel basically always does something by owning a business. And now they are going into the next world or evolution, which is going into professional careers.
Okay, you are
but
right.
That history is that's how it is. You mentioned in India, Patels primarily have always been very strong with being a business owner.
Correct. And the second thing is this: when we came, we don't have highly education. So what we did is to give it to our kids high education. So that way, this is second generation. So they are growing better than us and not much worried about like us. Convenience store. It's not a business you want to get in now, because it's first thing is hours. You talk about 6 o'clock to 11 or 10 o'clock at night. That's long hours.
Yeah.
So you don't have family life. In my case, because I work up to afternoon, my wife take over, then I go home, take a relax, and that time I have a small kid, so I play with him a little bit, and then my wife come back around when I go back to the store 6 o'clock, and then she come back home and cook. So those are the life we have. We are lucky enough to have both work together until 40 years, because we don't have any dispute or small things happen, but most of the times we work together.
Right. Yeah, that's huge, because all of the Indian families, and certainly most immigrant families, not just our ethnicity, but all other ethnicities, they work really hard together. They are, of course, making sure they work with their families. They hire their own relatives.
Correct.
They work together as a family and continue to grow. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, in terms of other, considerations of being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, failing is inevitable. And when you fail, have you ever had a moment where you were going to give up? You're like, you know what, this is really hard. I made a mistake. Maybe I should do something else, because it's difficult. It's difficult to own a business. And sometimes you feel defeated. Sometimes you feel like, oh man, this is tough. Have you ever felt that? And how did you overcome it?
Well, I feel tired those days because I don't have a time with my wife at home and my kids. But I power myself and I say, no, I'm going to work harder than what I'm doing now. Open up more business and retire early. My goal is to retire around 50. But then I didn't think about my kids those days. Means my kids need to have a good education, so you need to have a lot of money for that. That's why when you come in this country, you don't think that way. Okay, this is my future expenses. I didn't think that. When it comes to that, I say, okay, I had to pay that much for the education for them. They want car, they want this. So I work harder than before. And then that's why I retire when I want to retire. So age of 63, yeah.
Right, yeah, it's difficult because there's so many expenses. This country is amazing to live in, but it's also very expensive. It's very expensive.
But nowadays it's very expensive, you are right.
Right, so it's always difficult to figure out, how are we going to retire? And that's why sometimes owning your own business gives you power to hopefully, make as much money as you want. Whereas if you're working in a 9-to-5 job, if you do want to grow, it's hard. It's hard because you have a fixed income.
Fixed income, you're right. And that's the reason we decided not to work for anybody and my first paycheck is $65 a week. So that's, those days now it's nothing. But those days, at least you survive. I have $65, $75 a week and my wife get $100 and $110. She work harder than me. She work overtime and I don't believe on those. So I just said, no, Sunday I don't work, no matter what happened. This is my mindset. But I did certain times and then I quit. No Sunday. But she works Sunday also, so she get more than me. I get $75, $65, she get $110. But that money is enough those days because my rent is $300. Okay? And the milk you can get for 89 cents. Gas you can fill up for 69 cents. So that is okay. Nowadays you can't do that. You can't survive. You have to make a lot of money to survive at least. Not to save, but survive.
That's very cheap. Gas that cheap, milk that cheap, groceries that cheap. Wow. I wish we had that today. Now it's ridiculous, right?
I give my wife $20 a week to buy the grocery and whatever she want to do. Just the $20.
I can't even go to Taco Bell for $20.
Yeah, but those days...
It's crazy days that we live in. So, of course, you've worked really hard and that hasn't come without any sort of healthcare challenges too. You've had an amazing success with your life, with your businesses, providing me a lot of opportunities, but you've made a lot of personal sacrifices with your health too. You've had diabetes for long time.
40 years.
40 years. You've had, blood pressure, cholesterol. All of these things are controlled. You're healthy. Yeah. You've had some heart changes over the last year. Yeah. Walk us through, because I'm in the healthcare, industry. what do you like a lot about the healthcare system? Let's talk about what your experience has been, because you've never really been in the hospital. You've been pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Yes, you've had some challenges, but your first time in the hospital was recently.
Yeah.
What was your experience with the healthcare system in the US in terms of how they took care of you? And you can be as open as you'd like in terms of what your experience was.
Yes. One thing I can say, the best system in the world is in US. I was in India when I have a heart failure, but I don't want to get into the hospital and admit over there. If I have to, yes, but I don't want to. So the reason is doctors are good over there. The facility is not there. So the best facility medically you can see only in US. And that's why my son booked me a ticket next day, and we fly back, and we are lucky enough that saves my life, and we admit in a hospital. It's a wonderful experience in a hospital. All staff is very kind, very nice, and also my daughter-in-law with me, so that can help a little bit more. But yes, this is the best system in the world, so I suggest anybody, anywhere you are, and if you can afford, you come to the US and admit over here, and they take care of you. Most of them, millionaires from India, if they get sick, they come here in this country and operate operation like all the film industries and all the big business people. The reason is not it's not bad over there. It's the system is not work properly. The system over here is 100%. So those are the things about this country and this medical system over here.
Yeah, so you had a good experience. They obviously took good care of you and so forth.
Correct.
And you had a very good comparison because you had heart issues while you were in India. So you went through the hospital system there and realized, hey, no, I need to go back to the US because the healthcare system, no matter, of course, there's a lot of politics behind it. There's a lot of debate on costs and so forth. I know what insurance bills are ridiculous. Those are things that, are probably another topic for another day. But nonetheless, they took good care of you, and you're able to appreciate, because people here in the US complain a lot about the healthcare system. They say, it's corrupt, and whether that's true or not, we still do have the best physicians. We still do have the best technology. We have the best care. We have the best medications here.
Yes.
So these things are definitely something you've experienced and can differentiate from your experience back in India.
Yes. In India, if you live in India, then you feel better because you didn't go anywhere else in the world. Okay, I'm in this country for 40 years, so I can see the difference between these two countries, medical wise. Okay, so better over here. That's why we prefer to stay here. And over there, if you live there forever, then you don't, like I said, you don't see the difference. You're going to like over there because it's that system over there you are so used to. I and my wife, we are not used to that system. And that's the reason we came here. And thanks to Mr. Sam Patel, that who is give me the ticket and fly back over here and take care of me properly. And his wife. So both of them, I do appreciate to them. And I do appreciate one thing I had to mention, if you don't mind, to say that I'm here in this country because of my sister-in-law. And we still appreciate to her and her husband. They both work hard to bring us over here in this country. But yeah, medically, this is the best country in the world.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because there's always one family that takes the risk and then other families take the risk. And this seems to be a trend, is one person comes, they're the pioneer, and then they bring the rest of the family over.
Correct.
And a lot of the world may view that as, in different ways, but we, and of course our family and many other families like ours have come in here one by one to do better, to provide for this country, not take advantage of it.
No.
But to, of course, provide good businesses, provide jobs.
Yes.
Of course, provide income, tax dollars, all these amazing things. But it always starts with one person.
Correct. Yep. That's why I teach my kids when they're growing up. I say, first thing, this country, because you born here, you earn money here, and you get education here, so respect that. So that's why we teach them. Plus, for us, if I had to give my life for this country, I don't even think second, because this country gives us a good life and my kids and my family.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we are American.
Correct.
So,
of course.
well,
Yes.
Dad, thanks for having yourself be here and be present and having this opportunity to talk more. And for those of you that enjoyed this conversation or have questions or would like to talk more about any of these topics, or if you could resonate with it, and if learning more about your family stories and how you guys came here or what your challenges were, please comment below. Make sure you hit subscribe, because this is the way that we continue to have amazing conversations, is by learning from each other. Just like we learned from each other today, we're hoping to learn a lot from you. Hit that subscribe button, comment, have some good conversations, be positive. Let's make sure we make this industry of learning, being a good entrepreneur, being a good business owner, but also being a good citizen of this country. Please have great conversations. I look forward to having more conversations with you guys in the future. Thank you again for tuning in.